Oh, we are live! How are we, lads? Come on, the footy! The footy's back! Guys, subscribe to the channel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! The Cowboys win it! Woo! And welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Rugby League Breakdown Podcast, episode number 35. Hope all is well to everyone out there on this beautiful, very, very hot Wednesday evening up here in Lismore. Welcome to episode number 35. Far out, fellas. Episode 35 of the podcast. The show's been a very good success to the channel. It's been very, very good so far. I've really enjoyed the podcast since I created it. But as always, I'm joined by Sam REVILL and ProEnzo Vidz. Sam, how are we, bro? What's going on?
Yeah, it's sticky down in Canberra here today, man. I hope the chat's going well. I hope you're all doing really well out there. Keen to get stuck into the topics tonight, mate.
Oh, there's plenty to talk about. There's no doubt about that. With the NRL season not too far away, the Super League starts next Friday morning. The All-Stars game is next Saturday night. This is the last weekend without Rugby League until November. How fucking good is that? How good is that? And ProEnzo Vidz, mates, hope you're well, bro. I know we had a bit of technical difficulties earlier with the stupid Wi-Fi. There's a couple of thunderstorms laying around at the moment. But how you going, ProEnzo Vidz?
Good, mate. It should be all right now. Just the weather's playing a bit of a part in it. But, yeah, I'm good. Keen to rip into the podcast.
Oh, mate, it's good to have everyone on tonight. We got ProEnzo Vidz, the great man himself. Go and check out ProEnzo Vidz's YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. And I swear to God, go and subscribe to Sam REVILL if you haven't. You got to go check out his channel. It is going to be at 1K subs by the end of the year. I guarantee it. I'll put my fucking house on it. I guarantee you Sam REVILL will hit 1K subscribers by the end of the year. I'm predicting it to happen. I hope it happens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty confident that he will get there. So let's hope it happens.
Thank you.
Let's hope it happens. But like I said before, this is the Rugby League Breakdown Podcast, episode number 35. I'm trying to catch the live chat. The chat is going berserk right now, so I'm just going to skip to where we are as we speak. But, lads, this is the last weekend without Rugby League until November because if you remember, we've got the Super League next Friday morning starting up, the Charity Shield, and then we've got the Super League games. We've got the NRL trial games coming up, and then we've got the NRL season starting, and then when the NRL season's over, we've got the Rugby League World Cup happening. It's all happening. The footy is back. There's nothing better. Seriously, this is the last weekend where I'll be betting on the horses and dogs. But how good is it that the footy's back? Sam, thoughts?
Mate, the multis won't be going on the trots of the dogs, mate. They'll be going straight onto the bloody Rugby League starting next week, man. I cannot wait.
No wonder why I've been going broke every fucking weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm betting on.
Exactly. And you are much versed in the world of Super League, mate. I cannot stress enough how impressed I am and how grateful I am on how knowledgeable you are in the Super League, mate. And the same can be said for Lorenzo as well, man. I've been learning much over the past couple of weeks thanks to you pair, for sure.
Mate, I'll tell you what, it is hard with the Super because you look at the Super League, the time zone is hard. Not all the games are televised, although there'll be a lot more games televised this year with the new Channel 4 on over there. But I'm not sure if it's going to be on in Australia, that new Channel 4. They're going to show it over here. And I've got to try and find out. But Super League's coming back next week. The All-Stars game is back. How fucking good's life? ProEnzo Vidz, what are your thoughts on this weekend being the last weekend without any footy?
Oh, just want to say fucking finally, footy's back and there's nothing better. Everything seems to be normal for me when footy's back.
It's about fucking time. It's about fucking time that the footy is back. It really is. I'm really looking forward to next week, man. Well, it's funny because I get paid from work next Wednesday. I'll be chucking on a couple of multis for the Super League, as I'm sure you guys will know. I'll give you a little tip that I always do when I bet on the football, fellas. Every single game I bet on, I always have $3 or $4 on all the back rowers from both sides. You know why? Because back rowers are good value for first try scorer, and the value of back rowers, the score was unbelievable. And if you go to footy training and you watch some of the training drills, the back rowers are always good, always getting early ball. They always want to try and get over the try line. So back rowers are the best value. So I'll be having $5 each way on some of the second rowers in the Super League. Maybe someone like Benjamin Garcia, maybe someone like Morgan Nolas from St. Helens. Who knows? And in the All-Star game, I'll be doing the same thing. So really looking forward to next weekend. But without further ado, fellas, let's rip into the first topic of the show. As we all know, the NRL have updated the 6 again rule. So basically, someone's connection decides to just die in the arse. There's some noise in the background, but won't worry about that. The NRL is updating the 6 again rule. Is the update better for the game? Now, I'll try and explain it. It's a little bit confusing for some people. So basically, if a team is trying to get out of their own end and they're offside before the 40-metre line, I believe it is, then it will be a penalty instead of a 6 again. What do we think about that? Is it better for the game? I'll start with you, ProEnzo. Vidz. What do you think about the 6 again rule being updated?
It's good. I had to have a change. I think we've had enough 6 agains in the game. I think bringing a penalty in that sort of way, I think that's the way to go for the game. And I think it's a good decision by the NRL. At least they can make good decisions overall. Another thing about the rule is that it also exposes the teams and the players as well. It exposes time because it shows what players are particularly, I guess you can say, maybe milking or giving away penalties. So sort of gives an indication who's doing what, giving away that sort of stuff and that. So I'm a big fan of it. I was happy when I saw it.
What about you, Sam? Are you a fan of the NRL updating the 6 again rule, or would you have kept it how it was last year?
No, I like it. It was kind of distasteful, and it was just wrong at stages where they were clubs were willingly wanting to give away 6 again after 6 again, and now they've eradicated that for the upcoming season. I think well done to the NRL and for changing that rule. And I like seeing penalties coming back into the game. For sure, man. I like that rule where the team will be blown a penalty and not a 6 again. I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I think it's about time I did something to it. I still don't like the 6 again rule in general. I would like to see a trial game without a 6 again rule being in place, just so we can see if the 6 again rule is actually required, because some NRL players don't like the 6 again rule. Some of them like the 6 again rule. I think in the trial period in the coming weeks, I believe they should genuinely I think they should honestly have a game or two where they don't have 6 again involved and see if it makes a difference on how the game is right now.
And that's why international rules football would be so interesting to have, because I believe Rugby League international rules, man, would not include 6 agains as well.
No 6 agains, yeah.
Flat out penalties. So the next time that we do see an international, would be very interesting to see how a game goes without a 6 again ruling.
Well, as far as I understand, the 6 again rule in the internationals will not be happening. Before I continue with the this topic, I want to give a shout out to Jimmy Miller in the live chat, and he's just dropped a $5 super chat. He says, "Become a member, guys. Don't miss out on the NFA Super Coach and tipping competitions this year. Going to be a lot of fun. Plus, all the extra vids have been great. Only $5. Well, shout out to loyal subscriber and loyal member Jimmy Miller. Jimmy Miller is a Gold Coast Titans fan. Everyone who watches this channel, who's been watching the channel for a while, knows I hate the Gold Coast Titans. I can't stand them. But then I've got this great loyal fan named Jimmy Miller who has become a member of the channel, and he will support the channel as much as he can. And I want to shout out to Jimmy Miller for the $5 super chat. Jimmy, you don't have to do a $5 super chat. I really appreciate it, though. You're already doing enough with the membership, bro. But if you guys want to become a member of the Nick Farmer Show membership, feel free to do so. The link is in the description below. If you become a member, you'll be involved in the super chat competition. You'll be involved in my NRL tipping competition. You'll be getting the corner post. You'll be getting the super coach previews and the reviews. You'll be getting the other video that I created, the NFA rant, which is basically a video of me in my car doing rants, driving around, Lismore or Ballina or wherever the heck I decide to go. So there's a lot of great content on there. So make sure you guys become a member. $5 a month. It's an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. There's going to be another Nick from Australia members video coming up again very, very soon. But shout out to Jimmy for that. Really appreciate it. Jimmy means a lot, bro. But back to the 6 against stuff. Is with them updating it with the inside the 40-meter line and they're going to blow a penalty. The problem I have with it is what's going to happen if the scores are leveled up. There's 2 minutes to go in the game. Someone's offside, 40 meters out, and the team loses by a penalty goal. Then everyone will probably just turn on. I was talking to Paddy G about it this morning, and he said everyone loves the rule now, but everyone will just turn on it once it costs a team a game. Do you agree with that, you reckon? Because it seems to me that happens a lot with the NRL fans out there. They fall in love with a rule, and then when it costs a team a game or costs their team a game, I turn on it and say it's the worst thing ever. What do you think about that, Sam?
All right. No, I don't think it's too big of an advantage. I mean, we've seen kicks for touch go skewed. I mean, some kicks don't even go out for touch. So from well within inside the 40-meter zone, people were crying out all for the past couple of seasons, change it, and now they have. So by right, no one really has a right to sort of say, nah, that's not good enough, change it back. No. The NRL have just done a very good thing in trying to ensure that oppositions don't blatantly give away penalties. So and 6 against. So no, I think it's a great thing, and no, I think it's great, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly. Well, like I said this morning, I was having a chat with Paddy G on Instagram this morning about it. We had a good chat about this, and here's the thing. You can avoid it by not being offside. Stay onside. If you're offside, then too bad. You lose the game by a penalty goal. It's too bad. It happens. If it happens, it happens. Sucked in. What can you do? But Lorenzo, what are your thoughts on it, bro? Should the if it costs a team a game, will the NRL fans turn on this new update to the 6 again rule?
Oh, I mean, it could happen occasionally, but that's on the team though if it happens. That's pretty much on that particular slide. So, I mean, I want to see it happen first. I want to see him previewed first to see what how it all goes, a new rule. But again, if it happens, it happens. That's basically the team's fault that they've got themselves in that sort of, I guess, situation. So there's not really much more to add, really.
Well, you're exactly right, bro. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a really good look at this in the trial games, fellas, because I'll be live streaming every single trial game because I believe they're all on KO and Fox. So I'll be live streaming all them games and I'll get a really close look at this new update to the 6 again rule. But like I said before, I'd really, really like to see a game in the trial game. I'd like to see a game in the trials where the 6 again rule isn't even active, and I want to see what the difference is. So we'll have to wait and see how it all goes. But I'm looking forward to it. The trial games are very, very close right now, and I can see there's a little bit of tension in the chat about someone's bagging the Super League. This is not the Super League hate Rugby League chat. This is the Rugby League Breakdown podcast, and I want everyone in the chat to be respectful to each other as possible. You can disagree, no problem, but I will not tolerate hate towards any Rugby League. Super League's great. I love the Super League. Everyone knows that. I don't want anyone to be trolling and carrying on like a dickhead in the chat, so don't be a dick in the chat.
Sure, mate. Yes, absolutely. Nick, mate.
Don't be a dick.
Nick, man, do you want to talk about the other rules that have been implemented today as well?
Yes, if you want, mate. I haven't caught up on all the rules. I've been busy all day, but what else have they added, Sam?
Look, so Nick, man, what else they've added? So team lists to permanently feature 22 players. So on Tuesdays, 22 players will be announced, and that's something that you expertly said a couple of months ago, that you wouldn't be surprised if Team List Tuesdays would be expanded upon to accommodate for the 18th
watching my
man.
videos, the NRL. About time I started listening.
For sure, man. So no, I thought that was a great call when we were live, and it seems like they've implemented it, albeit just one more extra player, but still they're starting to just slightly expand the team list, mate.
Well, it's about time, and with the whole COVID situation with players getting the rat test on game day, rat test during the week, I'm pretty sure they do it every day now, the rat test at training and shit. So why not? I mean, an 18th man is also being put into the every week as well. Another player on the bench, it ain't gonna hurt. ProEnzo, Vidz, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's good that they're expanding the squads out, from 21 men to 22. I mean, it's not much of a difference, really. Like, it's not, different in any way. It's only like one plus. But, I guess that's good that they're expanding it a bit more, I think, actually.
I was listening to Justin Holbrook talk about this the other week, and so Justin Holbrook wants to see the NRL top 30 be maybe to a top 35 with the whole COVID situation. Mm-hmm. Would that be a good thing for the game, you reckon? I reckon it'd be a good thing. That's
exactly what you said a couple of weeks ago when Justin Holbrook obviously watched the show, mate, and that's what he said a couple of days later.
He must have tuned in with a cold beverage.
Of course, mate. A nice can of Coke, maybe.
Nice can of Coke. Maybe
no, you're exactly right. I'm cool with 35.
Who knows what he's eating?
I'm cool with 35, Nick, for sure, man.
Why not? Why not? Bring the development players up. Let them play. And I said the other week, I said it a few weeks ago as well, I said the players that are on train and trial deals should be allowed to play early because this whole COVID thing is so unknown.
Yeah.
So unknown.
Yeah, would you like? There's two more new rule changes that have happened today as well, mate. And the third one is as follows: teams to only receive free interchanges for foul play that sees opposing players sin binned or sent off, not just for being on report. So if you go on report, it's not a free interchange. If someone gets sent off or sin binned, that then constitutes as a free interchange. I like it. I think it cleans it up a little bit more. What do you guys reckon?
ProEnzo, you go first, bro. I'm just going to have a good thing about this first.
Yep.
Well, I haven't really looked into this one either, really. This is one I haven't really looked into depth in, really. But I think it's good. Like, I really do think it works out well. I don't really have an issue with it, so it should be good when it's implemented in the game. Just looking at in the live comment section, I think you need to do something unique about this.
All right, time out. All right. Listen, I know who it is in the chat, and I'm not going to say it again. Stop arguing in the chat. Shut the fuck up. This is the Rugby League Breakdown podcast. Everybody who is watching is trying to enjoy the show. Yeah, you've got a couple of dead shits in the chat carrying on like fucking 12-year-olds. Shut up. Agree to disagree. And stop fucking carrying on in the chat, for fuck's sake. Continue, Lorenzo.
Oh, look, I was just saying it's good, I think. I'm keen to see how it all goes. And, I reckon it's good. I really do think it's all right.
I don't know, man. I think it's still it's got question marks on it, to be honest. Yep. I mean, what happens if someone gets, say, an injured arm? Say they get tackled. It's a fair tackle. Injured arm. Has to go off the field. Can't come back. If they break their arm. Is there a free interchange for that? Or is that not happening?
No, that's just part of the sport, mate. That's just a part of the brutality.
Okay. All right. I don't know, man. It's got so many fucking issues. I don't know.
Yes. And the sorry to cut you off, Nick. The problem or the question mark that I got on it is that it's the consistency of the referees. One referee will see one piece of foul play in sin bin, and probably 2 hours later there'll be another game on Super Saturday, and the exact same thing will happen with a different referee. I'm just worried about the consistency from the referees on what will be constituted as a sin bin and sent off reportable instance. Therefore, the free interchange would then occur. So the question definitely for me is on the referee's consistency and interpretation of the rules.
All I'm going to say on this little rule that they're going to put in about this, I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to see how it goes. If it's a debacle, then I'll fucking criticize the hell out of it. If it works good, then I'll praise it. But until I see it happen, it's hard for me to really get a judging on it. So
yeah,
for now, I'm just going to be like, all right, let's give it a chance, see how it goes. If it fails, then you'll definitely hear about it from me. I'll be the first one to talk about it. But
sure.
We'll see how it goes. But is there any other rules? Any other rule changes?
And that's fair. That's totally fair. And there is just one more, mate. Excuse me. So and I like this. Like that. There's still a question mark over it. Trainers are only permitted to stop play for head injuries. If someone goes down with a calf injury or cramp or anything else, the trainers do not have the ability to come on and stop the game. That is up to the medical personnel, the touch judges, the referee, and the bunker as well. I like it because too many times we saw players go down with cramp and it halted the momentum of the opposition team. So I like that they've cleaned that area up.
This is another one that that's tough. This is another one because what happens if someone's ankle is back to front, but if someone scores a match-winning try against that, it's not going to look good. I tell you, there's so many issues with it. I like it as well. I can see it working, but fuck. What happens if someone's ankle is bent the other way? What if someone's knee is popped out and someone scores against that and wins the game or gets in front? Fuck, mate, it's going to be risky. But I understand. A concussion, then stop the game. Because if you go back to last year, probably Vidz will remember this really well as well. Remember the game against Souths? Remember Sean Kepi? He had that big concussion. It took those fucking clown referees about a minute and a half to stop the game. I was watching the game. I was screaming at the TV. I said, stop the fucking game. Kepi's got a concussion. He literally jumped in front of the Rabbitohs players when they were playing the ball because he was that concussed. So the concussion one makes sense, but the ankle injuries and the broken arms or the whatever, the trainers need to be stopped, I agree. But fuck, this rule could get really, really controversial. I think it really could. What about you, ProEnzo? What do you think about it?
Well, look, maybe it can get controversial in some parts. Just depends how the game goes, I guess. But overall, I like it in general because it should be always the medical staff or whoever's in charge of managing the injuries rather than the trainer. The trainer only comes on when it's a break. That's the only time they should come on and or come on for like a head assessment. If the player's concussed, they come on and assess that player. They don't come on when there's an injury. That's up to the medical staff to, I guess, sort of make it happen if it has to happen. It depends how bad the injury is. But I think it's better now because I think having too many trainers in the field's been a worry the last couple of years. And I think limiting the impact just a tiny bit is probably better for the game, I reckon, as well. So when I saw that, I was actually happy with it because I think it works. Will
this rule work, boys?
Yes. I hope so too. And there is still room for improvement. So I don't know whether, this is just an idea. What if medical experts were sitting in the bunker, or what if medical experts had the ability to talk to the touch judges via headset communication or e-piece communication? Because what if someone does their ankle back to front and they're on one side of the paddock and someone's taken an intercept try and gone the other way? Maybe that medical expert needs to say, I can see that this bloke's ankle is 720 sort of thing. Now, the other thing that I hope that I don't think they quite addressed properly is the HIAs. We saw, my concern for the HIAs is that they need to clarify before the season starts proper how long these players are going to go off. Like Valentine Jones and Cameron Munster over the past 18 months, they went off on the sideline and then came straight back onto the field within 60 seconds. And then other players are going off for the 15 minutes. I know it's hard to assess as a medical staff. I imagine it would be hard to assess as a medical staffer on the sideline. But there needs to be a clarification on that sort of ruling. Is it going to be 60 seconds or is it going to be 15 minutes off on the sideline? Because a lot of people got antsy, including myself, about the inconsistency in that ruling.
It's going to be interesting to see how that rule goes about. I'm not really confident about the NRL and the trainers getting this one right. I have a lot of headaches with the HIA. If someone gets a HIA, then get them off the field. If I hit their head, get them off the field. I saw someone try to say the other day, well, not the other week, but I saw someone online this morning when about these rules, and they're like, "Oh, what about the they should wear headgear?" I'm like, no, it's not NFL. It's not NFL. But yes, the HIA one's the only rule I saw this morning. I didn't see the other ones until you brought it up, Sam. But the HIA rule just gives me a fucking concussion. It's like trying to explain the obstruction rule. It just drives me fucking mad. I find it funny, though, how the NRL updated all these rules, but they completely ignore the obstruction rule. So, yeah, fucking ridiculous.
So I like everything that they've implemented. I think it makes things a little bit cleaner. There's still room for players and coaches to exploit rules in certain instances. But overall, I like the rule changes, man. I think it makes things a little bit more cleaner, and I'm especially very thankful to the NRL for making that 40-metre zone a straight-out penalty, not a 6 again as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I haven't got much confidence on it, on all the rules, but we'll have to see how they all go about in season 2022. I'm sure after round one's over, we'll all have a big chat about that, and we'll see how they go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the next topic now, fellas, and we're going to get straight in to this one, which is one that's going to upset some fan bases. Who's the most overhyped NRL side going into season 2022? Now, this one, you could name a few sides you could name for this one. I think last year, obviously, it was the Titans. I think everyone can agree last year was definitely the Titans for the most overhyped side. This year, it's a bit more wide open this year. It's a bit more tougher to pick. But I want to start with you, ProEnzo Vidz. Who's the most overhyped NRL side going into this year?
Far out.
I'm
going to say the Sharks, actually.
Oh!
I'm going to say the Sharks. Well, I think I'll give some reasons why, because everyone's going to be questioning me on this one. But I think because the Sharks are a team where it's going to be interesting because they've got a coach that hasn't coached first grade before. He's been an assistant for many years and he's had success with Trent Robinson. But I think taking over as a head coach full time is a bit different to being an assistant because there's more responsibility. He has to do a bit more. And another reason is that we'll see how things go in the trials, but apparently they're going to start with Nico Hines and Matt Moylan as their halves, which I don't like at all. There's no organizer there. They've got more running players, in my opinion. That's something I question quite a bit, but we'll see how trials go and they'll determine what the halves are. But look, the Sharks they will go well. They will go well, especially with some of their new signings. But there's things I don't trust about them just yet, in my opinion.
That's bold, Lorenzo. That is very, very bold. I did not expect you to say Cronulla. I thought you were going to say someone else, but wowee. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but very interesting take from ProEnzo Vidz. What about you, Sam? Who's the most overhyped NRL side going into this season?
A lot of people have said, look, the Bulldogs aren't going to make the top 8 because they're coming from too far down the well. Yes, they've bought some superstars and the like, but a lot of people just don't think they're going to make it into that top bracket. For me, I think the Brisbane Broncos are exactly in that bracket with Canterbury, Bankstown, Bulldogs. They're coming from way down the well, man, and they've got some signings. Reynolds and Capewell and Haas is a huge superstar in the making if he isn't already, but they're coming from way too far down the world, and they've got a young crop of players, some impressive ones at that too. But they're still a young side learning, and yeah, they've got Reynolds coming in. The leadership's going to be great. But for me, I think at the moment the most overhyped team coming into the 2022 season is the Brisbane Broncos.
Wow. Wowee. Okay. Well, I'm disagreeing with both of you, and I can understand why ProEnzo has said Cronulla. I can understand why you have said Brisbane. In my opinion, the most overhyped NRL side going into season 2022. They're from Sydney. They're a big club. They've been down in the shithole for a while now. It is the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are overhyped. Everyone's talking about Matt Burton, Josh Addo-Carr, Matt Duffy, Paul Vaughan, that imposter Trent Barrett. Let me explain why the Bulldogs are very overhyped going into this year. One, everyone thinks that Matt Burton's going to walk into that Bulldogs side and take over and be this superstar, big-name player. Here's the question I have with Matt Burton. Has Matt Burton ever played a full NRL season, 25 weeks at 5'8" for an NRL club in the NRL? No, he has not. Is Kyle Flanagan going to be the halfback? Is the hooker position locked in stone with Jeremy Marshall-King, or is he just going to be a placeholder until Reid Money gets there next year? Is Matt Duffy the long-term fullback, or is he only going to be there for 1 year and they're going to go buy some other big name that comes off the market? Are the Bulldogs going to win the big games against Manly early on, Melbourne, Souths, all these big sides? Can the Dogs handle it mentally? Is Matt Burton going to pull a Kyle Flanagan? I hope not. I don't think he will. But to say that the Bulldogs are going to be around the top 8 with no experience in the spine whatsoever, I think that forward pack is very good. Brent Naden is a good player. Don't get me wrong. But Brent Naden outside of a good system like Penrith, I don't know how that's going to go as well. Josh Addo-Carr's on his own now at the Dogs. He's now no longer in the Melbourne system, so we'll see how he goes. Aaron Schoff, can he back up what he did last year? I have a lot of questions with the Bulldogs, and I must say as well, Trent Barrett is not the right man for the job. Trent Barrett is unfit to be the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs head coach. He will be sacked by the end of the year if the Bulldogs go bad. Their start to the year is so hard, I reckon they won't even win 5 games by the time they get to round 12. That's how tough their draw is. They'll win maybe 4 or 5 games out of the first 12 rounds. So I think by the time we get to mid-season, mentally and physically, I think the Bulldogs would have already been defeated too much and it'll be too late. And if the Bulldogs think they're going to have a big run at the back end of the year, well, I'm sorry, but it's too little too late. The Bulldogs will not be making the finals. They are very overhyped. Everyone's talking about the Bulldogs. Yes, they won't come last. They will improve a little bit, but they won't be a top 8 side like a lot of people seem to think. Thoughts on that,
no,
boys?
I agree with that. That's actually
thoughts on that?
Yeah, fair point. I really think that's fair because the players have signed, they haven't played yet, so we've got to wait and see how they all gel first. Because
they've got no identity either. They've got no identity. The Dogs, no identity. So you mean to tell me, why Matt Duffy on a 1-year deal is going to really benefit the Bulldogs and make them a better side? Matt Duffy is the most inconsistent fullback in the game right now. Matt Burton at 5'8". Matt Burton, tremendous young talent. But in a 25-week NRL season competition, Matt Burton is unproven at 5'8" for a full year. He's unproven. There's a big difference from playing from a team that just won the premiership at centre, then going to a team that won the Wooden Spoon to play 5'8". There's a big fucking difference there. Jacob Reali's not a halfback. Kyle Flanagan's very, very inconsistent. Can't even get a run. Brendan Wakeham is fucking shit. I'm being completely honest here. Marshall King is fucking shit. The Dogs will not make the top 8. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Promise you, it won't happen.
Fair enough.
What do you reckon, Sam, about my
Fair enough, man. I just put Bulldogs and Brisbane in the same bracket, mate, so I'm with you.
Yeah. Fair call. Fair call there. All right, let's move on to another one, which is pretty similar topic to this one. Who's the most underrated NRL side going into season 2022? Now, I reckon there's several sides you could name. There are a lot of teams this year that are not even being talked about that should be. There's a few sides going under the radar. I'll start with you this time, Sam. Who is the most underrated NRL side going into season 2022?
Yeah, they're dancing on the sideways part of the coin, this club, but I still think they're underrated because their roster is very much the same as what it was last year, and they went into the second week of the finals, and I'm talking about the Parramatta Eels. I think that if they can muster it up together, go to that next level, I think they could very much make it to a preliminary final this season if they all buy into the fact that this is their last chance, because I don't see things going better for them in 23. And I think being that it was the best game of the year, in my opinion, between Penrith and Parramatta in that semi-final, maybe they've learned from it. Maybe they can grab bits and pieces from that game and evolve from it and take it to the next level. So I think a lot of people I agree, and I like where ProEnzo placed Parramatta in his ladder prediction list. I think that's a fair assessment. But for the people that are saying that they're going to drop out completely, like maybe potentially bottom 4, I think that's doing an injustice to Parramatta's roster, and I think they're underrated coming into the 2022 season.
Underrated. You said underrated. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I can't believe it. I heard what I just read, what I listened to. Parramatta underrated. I cannot believe that. I can't believe that. I'm surprised you said Parramatta. I thought you were going to say the fucking Warriors or something, or the fucking Cowboys. I don't know. I can't believe you said Parramatta. They made the 8 the last couple of years. How are they underrated?
Everyone has pushed them off the cliff in this off-season, man. They've said, nah, there's too many dramas going on. The board's fucking up and all this, that, and the rest of it. Everyone's pushed Parramatta off the cliff just because of a few signings that have been made for the 23 season. And I feel like I want to come in and say, no, they're still underrated, man. They're still a very good team. But as I said at the very start, there's a chance that it could go to hell in a handbasket for him mentally. I'm not talking physically. Mentally, it could go to hell for him very fucking quickly. So, no, I think Parramatta Eels, man, for everyone's bad-mouthing of Parramatta throughout the offseason, I'm here to correct them, and I want to say to them, no, they're very much still underrated. So, yeah, that's just in response to everyone pushing them off a cliff. I'm not saying ProEnzo has, man. I think ninth is fair, but I just think a lot of people have pushed them off a cliff, man.
It's a bold call. And I think when the season's over, we'll go back and we'll have a look at this, but very bold. Parramatta underrated. Very interesting take from Sam. What about you, ProEnzo Vidz? Who's the most underrated side going into this year? This is going to be interesting to see who you have selected.
Well, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the late night show, I'm pretty sure, I think. And I think some people would actually have a suspicion of who I'm going to say because I had them in my top 8 and no one else is really going to put them there. Just in my opinion, I think the Raiders are. And I'll give a couple of reasons behind that. So I really think because, they've got a real halfback now and they're a bit more settled as a team. Obviously they had a lot of issues during the year last year, had some injury suspensions and all that. So, of course that would impact their season last year and that. But, this year's a new season. They've got a real halfback finally, Jamal Fogarty. I think he's going to really benefit Jack Wighton's game because I've said this many times, Jack Wighton's more of a player who plays what's in front of him. He's not an organising player who takes all the damage and just, has to be the one that, does everything. That was the problem last year for Wighton. That's why his form was very bad because there was so much responsibility on him to do so much. So with Fogarty being there, he's going to take pressure off him. He's going to probably direct the kicking game a bit more and he will be good. I think that's good foil for Wighton. Nickel Clockstad, I think because he was injured for most of last year, but, when he came back for the Raiders, that's when they looked dangerous. We saw his impact was really good for that side and they're winning games and they'll even losing games, but very tightly though. So, you can see that if he stays injury-free, they'll benefit from that, having him on the field. And, I think this year Josh Papali is going to get better as well. I think the whole Canberra front row or the forward pack's pretty strong. It's always been a pretty strong forward pack in my opinion. I've always highly. But I think Papali particularly, he obviously wants to have a point to prove. Obviously, it wasn't his best year last year, but I think for Ricky and the club, I think he's going to find a way to be one of the best front rows back in the game again. So I really believe in Canberra this year. I really do.
I don't agree with you, Lorenzo. I don't think the Raiders are underrated. I'm disagreeing with you, bro. With the Raiders, last year everyone thought they were going to be top 4, and well, we all know how that went. I had the Raiders as well. They were fucking dreadful last year. I don't think they're underrated this year. I don't know. My problem with Canberra is Jamal Fogarty. Jamal Fogarty is a good player, but with all due respect, Jamal Fogarty, he really is a one-year wonder, isn't he? He didn't do nothing last year. I genuinely don't believe him. I don't believe White and Fogarty are going to work, to be honest. I think it's going to fail. I could be wrong. We'll find out anyway as the season gets underway, but I don't like the combination of White and Fogarty because I think Jamal Fogarty is a very up and down player. I think he's a fine halfback, but I don't know, man. I don't know if Jack Whiten's going to work with him because when Jack White played his best football, he played with Caesar and he played with George Williams, and both of them are quality halfbacks. Both a lot better than what Jamal Fogarty is. So I don't know, but you're entitled to your opinion. But I don't think Canberra. I'm going to go with the Dragons. I've been talking about them a little bit in the off season. I'm a big fan of what this side is doing. I love the head coach there in Anthony Griffin. Anthony Griffin knows how to get sides that don't look the best on paper up for it. We all know last year, if it wasn't for Paul Vaughan's stupid barbecue, the Dragons probably would have made the top 8. They would have only had to win 2 games if it wasn't for the barbecue. Because have a look at how the ladder finished. The Dragons missed out by 2 games. If the barbecue doesn't happen, they probably make the 8 last year, and I think they've gotten better. I think Jack de Bellin's off-season is very good as well. He'll be fit. He'll be ready to go. He was unbelievable last year when he came back. Can you imagine him after a full pre-season? I look at some of their outside backs. I think REVILL is going to have a big year. I think Sully and Lomax are outstanding outside backs. I think Ben Hunt, he's back. He was outstanding last year, Ben Hunt. And then the forward pack, you've got the likes of George Burgess going there. You've got Sim still there. I think the Dragons are really building something special. I don't know if they're going to have a good year or anything like that, but I think the Dragons are in for a pretty underrated year. I think no one's talking about them. Everyone's tipping them for the wooden spoon, which is fucking crazy to think. But I'm liking the Dragons at the moment. I think they're pretty underrated going into this year.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Agreed.
No one's talking about them.
Yeah,
and
no. Yep.
Everyone keeps undervaluing Anthony Griffin as a coach. Go look at his history.
He's a very good coach.
He's got a good history, Anthony Griffin. So we'll see how the Dragons go. But I went with Dragons for underrated. Lorenzo went with the Raiders. And Sam, you went with the hang on, who the fuck did you go with? I can't remember now. We're talking forever.
Eels,
that's right. All right. Let's go on to the next topic. The NRL All-Star squads have been announced, fellas. We spoke about it yesterday. Sam had all that champer on as well. We spoke about it. The squads are out. Not bad squads on both sides, to be fair. Should we expect a great game still with some of the big-name players out, or is it going to be a mediocre All-Star game? I hope it's a great game, but I'll start with you this time, ProEnzo Vidz. Should we expect a great game still, even with some of the big-name players out?
I mean, from what I've realised, the anticipation and the excitement around the All-Stars game has gone down, particular players missing. But, I still think it's going to be a good game. I really think it is because, it's obviously, it probably means a lot for those players to put on that Māori or Indigenous jersey. So I really think that's, going to obviously mean a lot for them and obviously going to, that they want to play for their own heritage. So I think that's going to, probably hopefully make the performance of both sides better and the players. So I think that's going to be good. And look, it's always usually pretty good at All-Stars. It always is. I mean, I know players are out, especially for the Maori side, but still, I really think it's going to be good. I think the quality of everything is going to be great. I still rate it.
Well, I think obviously the Maori All-Stars, no Manu, no Jerome Hughes, a couple other big names, no Brennan Smith. So the quality does lose a bit for the Maoris, and for the Indigenous guys, no Cody Walker, no Latrell, few others not available, unfortunately, but I think it'll still be a great game. What about you, Sam? Do you still expect a great game, even with some of the big name players out?
Yeah. So last year it was a rain-affected game, and it was a
Yeah.
bit of a tough slog in that 10-all draw game last season. Depends on the weather as well. I think this is going to be a 13-plus points victory to the Indigenous side. I'm just more impressed by their squad, but their squad. That's why I think we're going to still see some great skill on display in this game, man. That Indigenous backline, bro.
Oh,
If that
my God.
was, oh man. It is absolutely stacked. I think we're going to see some
Frightening.
great skill and talent in this game. Therefore, it will be a good game. And I genuinely am looking forward to it next week.
I don't want to go off topic here for a minute, but I want to ask you guys this: just give me a yes or no for this. Would you guys like to see an Indigenous All-Stars international team?
I mean, you can consider it, but I wouldn't, do it right now.
All right, fair enough.
I think
Sam?
that's been floated around by one of the players. I think maybe it was Latrell himself that
It'd be
suggested
fucking scary, wouldn't it? It'd be fucking frightening.
it would go all right. It'd go all right. And it would be, boy howdy, it'd be like a civil war when the Indigenous international side go ahead against the Kangaroos, sort of thing. Yeah, maybe one day in the next decade or so, as a trial, the Kangaroos
Why
can
not?
host the Indigenous international side.
It's worth a crack. It's worth a dead set crack. Who knows? But for me personally, the All-Star game, I think it'll be a great game. I know there's some big name players out, but you got to remember as well, the Indigenous All-Stars forward pack isn't that great. I mean, obviously the back row is good with Fafita and Fuimano and all these sort of players. It's good to see Andrew Fafita back as well. Shout out to Andrew Fafita. Last time we saw Andrew Fafita back, he got elbowed in the throat, and we thought he was never going to play again. And now he's back. He's going to be playing in the All-Star game. So I hope Andrew Fafita has a big year. This is great news. I hope Fafita absolutely kills it in the All-Star game. But the Maori All-Stars have an advantage in the forward pack in the front row, but you look at everywhere else, I think the Indigenous All-Stars probably beat them in every other aspect of the match on paper. But we've seen it before, haven't we, fellas? On paper, don't mean fuck all until I get out on the field. So
That's right.
we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I think it should be a great game still. And I said it the other day, yesterday when we were talking about it, I said the other day, some of these players in the Indigenous All-Stars and the Maori All-Stars treat this game like it's their origin game. Because obviously some of them can't play for New South Wales and Queensland. To them, it's their origin match. So I hope it's a big game, and obviously it's a big game, but hopefully it's a great contest, and hopefully we get a very entertaining game next Saturday night.
Hopefully the crowd comes out for it as well, man.
Well, they
Hopefully,
will, as long as Dominic Perrottet doesn't fucking panic and put everyone in lockdown again. But
I wonder if there
hopefully
will
it
be
all
a
goes
restriction on it, man. I wonder if there will be a restriction on it. Surely not.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Maybe.
I mean, if there is, I'm sure the mask rule will be mandatory, as it is if fucking everywhere you go now. But I don't know. I generally don't know. I'd love to find out about that. If someone can Google it, that'd be nice. But let's move on to the next topic now, fellas. And it's one that it's very close to my heart. I know both of these players really well. I've watched them for a long time. I know them both. I've seen them both play plenty of times. Will Jackson Hastings and Oliver Gildard do well in the NRL? Now, I know Hastings has played in the NRL in the past for the Roosters and the Seagulls. He had a decent run of the Roosters for a while there back 7-8 years ago. At Manly, obviously, didn't go too well. Him and DCE didn't work out, and we all know that situation that happened in Gladstone, and that's all water under the bridge now from what I understand. And Hastings killed it over at Salford and at Wigan and won a Man of Steel. He's back in Australia. He's back at the West Tigers, a team who hasn't played finals since 2011. Going to try and rebuild that side and make them a better team than what they have been in previous years. The question is, Sam and ProEnzo Vidz, will Jackson Hastings and Oliver Gildard do well in the NRL? I want to start with Jackson Hastings. Sam, will Hastings do well in the NRL this year?
Jackson Hastings obviously has had that taste. I remember him more so for Easts over Manly. And by the sounds of things, he's training the house down and seems to be getting raise out of Luke Brooks as well. Maybe Luke Brooks knows how much he's under pressure this season with Adam Dewey waiting in the wings. But Jackson Hastings, man, I think he will go well. Not Dally M contention well, but I think he'll keep the West Tigers just above water, mate.
No doubt. Well, I agree with you, Sam. I think Hastings will do well in the NRL this year. What about you, ProEnzo Vidz?
I hope so. I mean, I know it was unfortunate what happened to Manly a couple of years ago, and it was a bit sad because I liked Hastings when he was with us. I thought he was good actually in some games, but yeah, I think he'll go well. I really think he'll go well. Back in the NRL, obviously very successful over in the Super League with teams like Wigan and Salford. So I think he will do well in the NRL. A bit more experience under his belt, and I think he's definitely more mature as a player as well. He's definitely grown up a little bit, I think, since last time he was in the NRL. So I do think he'll go well, and hopefully, if that Tigers team, he can take them to at least a couple of more wins and everything like that. So I think he'll go well.
I'll tell you what, everyone knows this. I watched the Super League. I watched the NRL. I watch them both very closely. Will Jackson Hastings do well in the NRL? I'm going to say fucking oath he will. Now, here's the thing, right? When Hastings was coming through the system as a young player, he was supposed to be the next big thing, supposed to be the next big halfback coming through. Obviously, had a few issues, didn't work out, and obviously the whole situation with Manly and blah blah blah. Went over to Super League, in my opinion, with the biggest fucking chip on his shoulder. If he failed at Salford or Wigan, it would have just rocked his confidence. It would have really hurt him. Now, going over to the Super League to win Man of Steel is not fucking easy. It ain't easy to do it because the Super League, everyone says it's a shit competition. It's not. It's a great competition. There's a lot of quality players over there, and I really enjoy it. Everyone should go and check it out. I know the time zone is very hard, but Jackson Hastings is going to be a very good signing for the West Tigers. See, when you go play for a club like Salford, who have always been a struggling sort of side, he made that team come from last to fucking the top three. Got him to a grand final and won Man of Steel. And obviously had a couple of really good years. But here's the thing with Hastings, guys. He's a world-class player. He knows how to do his job. He's matured a lot now. I think he's ready for the NRL. He's ready to go. And everyone says, Super League's easy to go over there and win Man of Steel. No, it's not. Well, if it's easy to win Man of Steel over there, how come Badman French hasn't won Man of Steel yet? How come that hasn't happened? How come Elijah Taylor isn't the best lock in Super League? Everyone talks about it being a shit competition. What a load of crap that is. What a load of fucking crap. But in my opinion, Hastings will do well in the NRL. I'm really keen to see how he goes. Now, let's go to the other player, which is the England centre, former Wigan centre, Oliver Gildard. Now, as we all know, when wingers, fullbacks, and centres come over to the NRL from the Super League, things don't always work out. Like, for example, Sam Tompkins at the New Zealand Warriors didn't really work out the way he would have liked. Zach Hardacre at Penrith didn't really work out the way he would like. Oliver Gildard's a bit younger than those guys. He's just getting over a pretty bad injury. Will Oliver Gildard do well in the NRL? I want to start with you, Sam. What do you reckon?
I am not. I've never watched a game of Gildard, to be honest with you, mate. So if he's coming off a bad injury and is coming down to Australia to debut for a struggling club like the West Tigers, mate, he might find it pretty tricky to get his bearings early on. But to be perfectly honest with everyone, I've never really seen Gildard play, mate. So I'm going to be completely introduced to a brand new face in the Rugby League this season, mate.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting how Oliver Gildard goes. What about you, ProEnzo and Vidz? Well, how will Oliver Gildard go in the NRL?
We'll see. He was good for Wigan. I really thought he was great for Wigan in the Super League. He seemed to really be good for that side, and I really rated him over there. But coming to the NRL, it's a bit different. And I think, I guess one of the issues with him is that he's I guess with this. Everyone now being playing the backs, they're all bigger, they're all stronger. That's the thing. That's not to say Gildar's not like that, but it's just I don't think he has like the the body. I don't think he's going to really fit in straight away. It might take him a couple of weeks to kind of get into the whole groove of the NRL and try and gel in. But I hope it goes well because I like him in the Super League. I liked him when watching him playing for England and all that. But look, I got a couple of questions about him, put it that way. So hopefully it goes well.
I am sort of up and down with this. Now, Oliver Gildard, when he came back for Wigan at the back end of last year, obviously he was a bit underdone. He had a couple of good games, a little bit quiet. If Oliver Gildard pairs with Jackson Hastings, then I think he'll do well. Now, how well will he go remains to be seen, but I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll come over here and be a top 10 centre or anything like that. I think he'll be a solid centre for the Tigers, and I think he'll do his job very well. I think if he's with Hastings, then that'll be fine because that Wigan combination can sort of gel a bit better. But I think he'll be okay. Everyone's bagging outside backs. I think he'll be okay. And I saw some people on social media saying that he should start off in New South Wales Cup. What a load of fucking shit that is. When you play for England in the centres, you need to be in the NRL team. I don't care what anyone says. If you're an international player, you need to be in the starting team for whatever side you go to. So I think Gildard needs to be playing centre, left centre for the West Tigers. And if he does that, I think he'll be okay.
So does that mean, Nick, that he'd be partnering Mamalo on one side and then having Luciano Leilua as his big forward? I think that's
Probably.
a pretty good edge.
Even
though I'm not well versed in Gildard, I think Mamalo, Gildard, Luciano Leilua, and Hastings, with Dane Laurie coming around the back, I think that's a pretty dangerous edge for West Tigers.
It's pretty solid, isn't it? I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes, but I can see a few people in the chat are not happy about it, about Gildard. No one's really keen, but I doubt half of them have even watched Gildard play, to be honest. Jacko here in the chat says, Gildard will struggle. Please, Nick, don't mention Sam Tompkins. He was the worst signing in NRL history. Oh, I don't agree with that. He obviously it didn't work out at the New Zealand Warriors, but
No.
worst signing in NRL history? Don't know about that one. There's been worse players come and go in the past. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. All right. Well, Gold Coast Titans fan, mate. I've been reading the chat for a while. You've been carrying on a bit. I'm going to put you in timeout, bro. Can't be having you carry on like a pork chop, so you're going to have to calm down. 5-minute timeout for him. Hopefully he comes back and doesn't carry on again. Let's move on to the last topic, fellas. It's one that I don't want to talk about because we spoke about it a few weeks ago, but it's been all over the NRL media the last 48 hours, and it needs to be talked about again, unfortunately. Latrell Mitchell, my God. This whole situation is very ugly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Latrell Mitchell is not allowed to play the All-Star game, but he's free to play in the Charity Shield. Does this make any sense whatsoever? ProEnzo, Vidz, I'd love to start with you. I don't even want to talk about it because it gives me a headache just talking about it. But does this make any sense?
No, it doesn't, because I don't understand. Like, why can't he play in the All-Stars but can't play in the Charity Shield? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, They're both off-season games, so I don't get why he can't play the one and then can't play the other, That doesn't make sense to me. But I will say, look, if anyone's suspended like him, he shouldn't be allowed to play. It's pretty simple, There's no point really trying to sort of say, he can play, but because you bend the rules for him. But no, look, he's suspended. There's not really much else you can talk about, So he misses out, unfortunately.
This whole situation just gives me a fucking headache, to be honst. Sam, what do you reckon, bro? Latrell, it doesn't make sense, does it?
Back the truck up, boys. So where do I begin? It's a clusterfuck from the NRL. It's also a lack of awareness from the rugby league community because it all's fair in love and war, boys. And I've spoken about it to you guys in a couple of chats over the past week or so. Murata Niokora for the Parramatta Eels got a suspension in the 2020 final series, and he was then allowed to play in the trials because it wasn't a grade 3 charge or higher. Latrell Mitchell was charged with a grade 2 reckless high tackle. And Murata Niokore, to start off the 2021 season, did not play in that first round. So he served his suspension. He played a trial game. If it's fair for Murata Niokore, it's fair for Latrell Mitchell to play the Charity Shield. But the NRL have completely fucked everyone's minds up by not allowing him to play in the All-Stars, but allowing him to play in the Charity Shield. And I think the reason why he was not allowed to play in the NRL All-Stars is because it's a very big stage. It's prime time. And I think some pundits might have thought, this is not my personal opinion, but if I can put myself above the clouds, I think a lot of people thought it might have been unsavoury for him to play and lead the Indigenous side when he hasn't served his suspension yet. And I think just to make things a little bit clearer from now on, I think if you're suspended, you're suspended. End of story. No trials, no chance to do anything else, man. Just if you're suspended, you're suspended.
Exactly.
I'm with you, Sam. I think if you're suspended, you shouldn't be playing any trials or any All-Stars. I'm with you on that. But I don't get it. So is the NRL trying to say that the All-Star game is more important than the Charity Shield?
Yes.
Well, they're wrong.
Probably, yeah.
They're wrong because the Charity Shield goes all the way back to 1982. It has tradition. It has history. It's an iconic game. I know it's only a trial game for some people, but when a game like that goes back to 1982, it's a consistent NRL / New South Wales Rugby League fixture on the Rugby League calendar, then I don't believe that the All-Star game is more important than the Charity Shield. The Charity Shield goes back a fucking long time. The Maori All-Stars versus the Indigenous All-Stars only started in what? 2018?
Yep.
28, whatever year it started, 18, 19. So, I mean, do your research on it. The Charity Shield game has been around a lot longer than the All-Star game. So, but I guess because the All-Star game means more to Latrell than the Charity Shield, the NRL want to say, haha, fuck you, you're suspended. We'll let you play the Charity Shield, but you can't play the All-Star game. It doesn't make any sense, man. The whole thing's like you said, Sam, it's a cluster fuck. It's a mess. And I think if you're suspended, you shouldn't be playing any game until you come back.
And do you know what the argument there is, though, Nick? Is a player, but for example, if Latrell Mitchell called in right now and he said, well, how am I supposed to get some sort of game time in? Because if I miss my 2 trial matches, that means I'm serving what? Instead of a 6-game suspension, it turns into a 8-game suspension. I'm sure that's the argument a player or a pundit out there would make on behalf of the player. But the trial games just they just don't count in the scenario. And you get enough contact at training. So it's a bit of a duck egg answer at the moment. But I think if you're suspended, you're suspended.
Well, I would say to someone, so if someone was out till round 5, suspended, and say, hey, well, I can't play a trial game, so how am I going to be fit? Well, I'm just going to turn around and say, well, if you did your ACL, you wouldn't be fit when you came back mid-year anyway. So, same thing. If you're injured, then you can't play, then you're underdone. If you're suspended, you're underdone. It's too bad. If you're suspended, you're suspended. That should be it. There should be no exemption for anyone.
But what's good for the goose is good for the gander, bro. If it's been happening for years now, where people are serving a suspension and allowed to play a trial game, and it's unsavoury because the NRL have said, no, you can't play this trial match, Latrell. But inevitably, they've said, but you can play this one. And it's like, what's the right answer? The wires are getting crossed here, guys. Give us a clear answer, not just for us, but for the players as well, man.
Exactly right. Well, it's a massive headache, and boy, oh boy, the NRL got some answers to bloody answer to there, because they need to review this now and have a look at it, because it's another rule that they fucked up on. It's another one. But I was online this afternoon and I was having a look at this whole Latrell situation, and I see there's apparently that if the NRL doesn't approve Latrell Mitchell to play, there could be a bit of a fucking an online protest about this.
Man, if it comes out that they don't allow him to play the Charity Shield, the whole world will go ape. Well, the NRL world would go ape.
Well, there's been I've been reading a few social media comments, and some people have been saying that if Latrell Mitchell isn't exempt and allowed to play the All-Star game, then some people won't tune into the All-Star game.
Well, you see, now you're forgetting the reason why there is an All-Stars game anyway.
Exactly right.
It doesn't necessarily matter who the captain is, who the leader is. It's your culture. It's your team. You get
One
into
player
it for
doesn't
that
make a
reason.
team.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. So no,
Yeah.
I disagree with that sentiment there from whoever said that. Struck me pink.
Yeah, I've been reading it online. I've seen there's about 20 comments. If Latrell don't play, we will not watch the All-Star game. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, fuck you. One player does not make the game better. Fuck you. I know Latrell's a big name player, but that's bullshit. That's crap. That's absolute crap. But what can you do? What can you do? All right, anything else you guys want to talk about before we get on out of here tonight?
Oh, mate, we could go on for another bloody 15 minutes, but on this Latrell Mitchell subject, mate. But no, thank you very much for having me, chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully it's smoother, nicer next time. But yeah, thank you.
It's fucking hot up here. It's
Nick.
about fucking 35 degrees. I'm fucking sweating like an animal up here. Supposed to be a big thunderstorm happening, and unfortunately, it didn't really happen. To be fair, sort of just blew away. So, what can you do? But ProEnzo Vidz, Sam, thanks for coming on as always. It was a great podcast tonight, and thank you.
No worries.
For another great show.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you,
No
Lorenzo.
worries.
Well, I really enjoyed tonight, and also, guys, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channels of ProEnzo Vidz and Sam Revel, make sure you go and check their channels out. The link for their channels is in the description below. But lads, we're getting out of here. Have a phenomenal Wednesday evening, and the late night show might be on this weekend, boys. What do you reckon? Late night show happening this weekend?
I'll get back to you, mate, but sounds good.
I'd like to do it maybe Friday or Saturday night. We'll obviously talk more about that later on, but hopefully we can get the late night show on this weekend at some point because I've got nothing planned for the weekend. So hopefully we can get the late night show on this weekend. But that's it from us. We're getting out of here. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Go check out Sam and ProEnzo. We're out of here. Guys,